Welcome to homework.
Okay, so we're just going to fill this in. Got symbol, proton, neutron, electron, and mass. And we've got 7935 bromine. We've got a 25 proton, 30 neutron. We've got 64 neutrons and 48 electrons. We've got 54 electrons and 132 mass. And we've got 119 mass with 50 protons. Okay, so we're going to need a periodic table, right? That's basically how we're going to answer this question. Let's set this down here. And we'll refer to it as we go. The first thing we're going to want to do is find bromine and see how many protons, neutrons, electrons, and mass that it has. So bromine, right? Bromine 35. Okay. So what does that tell us, right? Well, this 35 that's up here always means the number of protons on a periodic table. Okay. And when we see the formula like this, it's basically telling us mass, protons, symbol, okay? And then we have to infer that N equals mass minus protons, and that electrons equals protons. So that's basically everything we'll need to figure this out. So if we look at bromine, we know that protons is this little number down there, right? Okay, we'll color code this. Okay, right, so 79 is the mass, 35 is the protons, BR is the symbol, and 79 is the mass. Okay, so 79 mass, 35 protons. Then we have a formula for neutrons. It's mass minus protons. Okay, 79 minus 35, that is 44. And electrons equals protons if it's a neutral molecule, and we're assuming all of these are neutral. Otherwise, you can't answer it. Technically, an atom can have any number of electrons if it's like a charged particle, but here we're assuming neutral. So electrons just equals protons. That's 35. Okay. Now let's see. We've got 25 protons. So recall that a element is defined by the number of protons it has. Various isotopes of it can have different number of neutrons, but if you have 35 protons, you're always bromine. If you have 25 protons, well, we just go to the periodic table, find the element who has 25 protons, that's manganese, and you're always manganese, right? So we know for a fact that this has to be manganese. And we know the protons is 25, so we can put 25 down here. I forgot the N. And we know that we need to put the mass in the upper left-hand corner, and that mass equals neutrons plus protons, right? So for us, that's going to be 55. Okay, we know electrons equals protons. And we already computed the mass, that's 55. Okay, let's move on. Now we've got, make this colorful. We have got 64 neutrons. Never want to start with neutrons, right? Because neutrons can be different for different isotopes of the same element. What can tell us something important is electrons, because these are neutral. We know that protons equals electrons, so we have 48 protons. That's nice. Okay, and if we have 48 protons, we can go find what element we have, because elements are defined by their number of protons. So we have cadmium. Okay, so our symbol is CD. Okay, and we know we have 48 protons down there. We know that the mass is going to be the protons plus the neutrons. That's 112. And we can put that down here as well. Okay, next one. We know the mass and the number of electrons. Well, since they're neutral, protons equals electrons. So we have 54 protons. Once we know protons, we can go find what element we have. 54. That's xenon, right? So we know our symbol is xenon. Okay. Well, this is kind of interesting. Okay, no, we're good. Okay. So now we know that it's 54 protons down here. And we need to put the mass up top, which they told us is 132. So what's left to do is calculate neutrons. Neutrons equals mass minus protons. So 132 minus 50 is 82, minus 4 is 78. All right, last one. So protons, they tell us right off the bat this is 50 protons. We can look at our periodic table, find our element. It's tin, Sn. Okay, so our symbol, Sn, and we know we need a 50 down here to tell us how many protons we have. Electrons we know is equal to protons, so we have 50 here. And they told us the mass is 119, so we can put 119 up here. And again, neutrons is mass minus protons, so 119 minus 50 is 69. Nice. And then the rest is just entering it in the format they wanted, right? So this is what you'll be entering.